I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and with me today is a very special guest, former captain of Team USA and a multifaceted board game athlete, Carcassonne statistician, and a columnist for the World Team Carcassonne Online Championships. The author of the Curiosities column, and a beloved Carcassonne personality in many, many ways, Carrie Alley, also known as Mingo. Hi, Carrie. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Alexei. I'm glad to be here. This is my first stream, I believe.
Yes, I'm glad to share that honor, so we'll try to get you to talk as much as possible really today, because there's so many things we want to talk about in addition to the match coverage that we're going to do. And the match coverage that we're going to do is the round 5 encounter from the World Team Carcassonne Online Championships between USA and Japan. So it's not going to be a very one-sided stream. I assume you're obviously going to be rooting for your former team, and I'll try to pretend to provide a balanced perspective. So, tournament table-wise, this is very, very straightforward. This is a decisive game in Group E. The United States and Japan both have won their previous encounters against Malaysia, Netherlands, Czech Republic. We streamed United States versus the Netherlands last week, where there was a banger of a decider between KB and Bexy, where the American prevailed. And the only challenge for the United States is now Team Japan. So only one match remaining, but very difficult match right now. Japan, of course, the reigning world champion, and their lineup is also today pretty strong. So maybe let's do it like this. Carrie, can you introduce the players of United States, and then I can introduce the players of Japan, and then we'll figure out whom we're going to follow.
Okay, great. Yes. So I'll just go in order of the tournaments. So there's Sheldal, who has been on the team since 2021, I believe, or 22. Oh, I probably should have looked this up, but and
you can say, Carrie, you can say 2021. Nobody will check.
Nobody will know.
Yeah, nobody will check. 2021.
You've seen all those posts you've seen all those posts about the curiosities. People do fact check. Anyway, so yes, and I think one real notable achievement of his was doing very well in the first Carcassonne Champions League that was before it was done by Carcassonne GG. And yeah, so then there's Admitted, who has been on the team since the very first year. He was actually my first recruit. I was mining data for people who've played a lot of Carcassonne and who had a high elo and who looked like they enjoyed competitions. And he obviously does, as you can see from his other games. And Stone Age is probably, and Ticket to Ride are probably his top games, although Azul's kind of up there too. So, and he's actually the teammate who lives closest to me. He's actually the before this year was the only one of my teammates I had met in person. Oh, other than Alan, who I did meet in Germany, and then DKL, who was also in Germany this summer, this last fall, for the World Championship. So then there's Justin Ethier, who's one of I think this is his third year, and he's been doing pretty well this year. And he was one of the people who got recruited. Wow. Nice, nice.
Are you wowing about the ratings of his?
Yes. Yep. I knew he was good in Azul, but I hadn't seen that recently. That's awesome. So, and then there's JP, J, I always say in my head JP, but it's like JP or something. I don't know.
Oh,
I probably should have
I
asked him
thought
if
it
he
was
had
like J by cut, but with a K instead of a C. This is how I saw this.
JP cut. I like it. I like it. It works. So, and he's pretty new to Carcassonne, or not so much new to Carcassonne, but he's only been playing it regularly for less than a year because he joined up less than a year ago. And so he's definitely some fresh blood for the team. And he was one of, I think, 5 new players who participated in the qualification tournament this year. And I spent a couple days mining the Carcassonne ranking list, looking for players who had primarily 2-person non-expansion games within the last 50 games that they'd played. I just sent one of my scripts, my faithful bot Scuttlebug that sets up tournament games and other things, went through and got all the names from the list and visited every US player's profile page and got their most recent 50 games of Carcassonne. And so I could have in the ratings list for each player what percentage of their last 50 games were 2-person and without expansions, and that helped me focus on who to invite. I've also invited in the past some of the high-ranked players that mostly do expansions, and they tend to not be interested. Karki is definitely the exception there. So Japia and the other 4 new players were people that I contacted through BGA and said, hey, do you know about this? Would you be interested in trying out? And we have a club that does other things too. So, and he actually came in 3rd in our tournament, and we guaranteed the top 2 places that weren't one of the 2 pre-selected players to be on the team. So we do that to try to motivate people to just show us what they can do when there's something, a big carrot dangling in front of them. And let's see here. Last but not least is KB. He's been around, I think he was in the first year.
Time with 16,000 games.
Oh, he definitely plays a lot. And he also is one of the most stable players too. Every profile has noise, but his noise just basically looks the same all the time. He's really solid. But of course, everyone has bad days.
Yeah, well,
so that's the team.
Gotcha. Certainly a very strong team, and even the newer player who the only one to not have her expert rating at the moment looks honestly really solid with just 600 games. The Japanese players, of course, are going to be very strong opponents. Even though their leaders, Kithara and Pyro, are not playing today, they have Y Guru Y with rated 673 to match against Sheldal. Also, their peak is over 700. Same is true for Haro, currently 644. Also another Japanese master. Admitted for him is going to be quite a test, given the fact that Haro is a Carcassonne specialist. Carcassonne is clearly his main game. Table 3 is one where I think that Justin should be a clear favorite against Koryu of Japan. Of course, Japan doesn't have any weak players, but purely rating-wise, 400 looks more than manageable, and this is the only table where the US is actually higher ranked. On table 4, Ezitakuto Traps should be a very difficult opponent for J. Pike Cut here, simply because, well, of their experience, and this Traps part of their screen name means that they're part of the Traps Carcassonne Club, a club in Japan with 50 members, something like this, but they should have quite deep knowledge on the game. Table 5, and I believe Table 5 and Table 1 are the crucial tables for the chances of the United States. ATRT, who is one of the Japanese masters with 3,700 games of experience, rated 670, should be still the favorite against KB, but as you said, KB ain't no slouch. He's been playing competitively quite a long time, did deliver the decisive win against the Netherlands. So we will be not looking at that table because already we showed KB last week. Carrie and I talked a little bit and figured that we're going to start with Sheldal, because first of all, Sheldal and Guru is the highest rated pair, and second, because we really haven't showed either of the players much on this channel. So away we go. The first game has started. Guru will be playing the blue meeples now, at least according to the plugin that I have. And Sheldal with yellow. I'm not sure if these are their actual colors, but it does not matter. This is how it's going to be now. Wait, let me just make this full screen, and then we can dive into this position. So the Japanese player was the starting player here, scored 2 points for this road here just now, but Sheldal had a slightly better position, finishing a 4-point city a couple of moves earlier and starting another one. Also proud yellow meeple here on a shielded tile, which is looking to develop a city of his own, or maybe join in the party for this blue city over here, which looks quite vulnerable, really semi-blocked. In the meantime, Sheldal also has this 2-point road and another 2-point road, which is very, very creative move, but I kind of like the greed around this. The idea, of course, is to connect all the way around, build a 6-point loop, and not allow blue to pick up empty road ends. In the meantime, the cities get united through the efforts of yellow this time, which does surprise me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Blue now can safely place this tile over here, trying to block Sheldal City. Sheldal instead gets an extender tile to continue. Blue starts a new city, trying to create further threats against the American, but Carrie's teammate now gets 8 points for the city and is now ahead on the scoreboard, 12 versus 1, 20 versus 7 in the overall score. Guru with a shielded tile starts a new city on the left, obeying the principle of 2 cities. A bit of a counterintuitive move, but he's really looking forward to putting some pressure on these here 2 yellow guys. Sheldal now starting with a vanilla, not with a vanilla, but with a dagger tile, and he still wants to proceed with the idea of getting this road, and he's gonna get burned really hard as immediately Guru starts blocking these squares a little bit. And whilst it might seem like not a big problem when there's still 2 crossroads remaining, in all likelihood it's going to be a bit of a wait before Sheldal gets them, and 25% of the time he's not even going to get a crossroads at all. It doesn't help exactly yellow's position that Guru is catching up on the scoreboard with this 8-point city, and now with a new city here, Sheldal found a lovely idea to start a new city whilst also pre-building a road over here. So the idea is that if he gets a crossroads, he gets to not only liberate these 2 meeples, but also start a new 5-point road that goes over here like this. So that's very smart board vision here from Sheldal. And both players are playing a bit unexpectedly fast. I would expect them to spend a bit more time on their moves, which is what the Japanese player does with their Dorito tile. Again, not continuing their city. And I was going to say starting a new one, but I'm really surprised about the lack of meeple placement there. So a question to you, Carrie. Were there any other moves from the last few that we've just seen that you were surprised about?
Out of sight, out of mind. I can't remember. Or the joining of the 2 cities, I think, was the one that surprised me the most, with that Sheldal did.
Yeah.
Yeah, up there.
That does not seem to be the best move, in all honesty. Like, it's definitely that it's a low variance move. It's basically trying to protect himself from the worst case scenario of Waiguru drawing the city caps very quickly and completing the city quickly. But the chances of this were so low that I felt like trying to go the blocking route and trying to block here everything, keep that blue city at 4 points and try to develop your own city would be
The daggers are all gone,
the way to go. Oh, the daggers are all gone.
I think.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that's huge, actually. So yeah, they're all indeed are on the board, which means that this now shared city is permanently trapped. But this also means that future blocking of cities in this position will be much, much easier than it normally is. So both players will need to proceed and build their city with greater caution than normally. But in the meantime, so many things have happened. Sheldal, quite fortunately, drew this here tile to liberate 2 of his meeples. Some quick points have been completed, 6-point city here, 4-point city here, and the first farmer of the game for the Japanese player, a proud blue meeple here on a 9-point field with loads of green squares. So this field will definitely matter a lot in this game. A straight line here could expand the field even further, bringing this city over here, and then a curve here would expand this field even further. So it looks like we're headed into a very open position, a major field fight, and this is the type of position where meeple management matters a lot. If you get even one meeple blocked, then your opponent can get a long-term meeple majority and abuse you in the field fights. So both opponents are refraining from building cities in vulnerable places. Sheldal gets the first monastery of the game, and another thing that he gets was this lovely field connection over here, setting up a 4-point road, which unfortunately for him is taken care of by the Japanese master. Another thing that Blue managed somehow is to connect a second farmer into the field, but right at him, Sheldal drops a farmer over here, trying to connect through an unblockable route through a straight line, or if push comes to shove, with a curvy tile over here. So far, we're even on the farms, very even on the scoreboard. The one thing that the American has going for him is the 6-point monastery, and if that is completed and if the field is equalized, then he's going to have a bit of an advantage. Now, Waiguru has a crossroad tile, which is used not as a scoring tile, but as a farming tile, and that is pretty interesting. Honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about this, because it's a relatively dangerous connection. We're going to talk about this later, as Sheldal gets an unblockable 8-point monastery. Very strong move here from Sheldal. The reason why it's unblockable is because a curve here fits very, very well, and there's nothing that can go over here in that square to obstruct, so it's pretty much inevitable that he's going to get his meeple back. There's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 4 crossroads, no, 4 curves remaining, so 94% chance of meeple retrieval. In the meantime, Waiguru is scoring quick points just to catch up a little bit. Sheldal is going to respond right at him with 2 quick points on the left, and also, Carrie, maybe this might be an explanation why he unified those cities, because what he can do now, he can go over here, block this square, still keep this blue meeple trapped at 4 points, and then try to develop his own part of the ruin with many of the big city tiles which are still in the deck to score 8, 6, 10 points, something like that. Curvy tile goes for Waiguru. He's thinking where to put it. Probably here for a farmer. Looks very solid for 6 points and a reasonable chance of invasion with one of the 3 remaining curves. The reason why I viewed this invasion here as a bit dangerous is because we are out of the crossroad tiles. So if Sheldal were, let's say, first to get a straight line and go here to unify the field, and then get another straight line to go over here, he would permanently block this poor, poor little blue meeple, and this, of course, would be pretty much game over for Waiguru, but not yet. He gets to connect his farmer on the right, Now there are only 2 curves remaining for Sheldal to complete his monastery, and if blue gets to connect his field at the bottom, then blue is going to have a major advantage in this position. In the meantime, some largely inconsequential moves have been occurring. Well, there is a bit of a city fight, which remains neutral, and the field connection has indeed been completed. Blue successfully invades for a 3 versus 2 majority, although technically now... Wait, 4 versus 2?
4. Yeah.
Okay. So this does not look good for Sheldal, I was gonna say, but actually Sheldal is not doing that bad overall with his monasteries. It looked like he's now going for an imbalance, a very different type of position. So if he gets a curve and gets a meeple back, and if he gets a couple of straight lines and get this meeple back, then with his meeple majority, he's probably going to score enough points to outrun the field. So this is the plan. The field currently has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cities here for 15 points and 4 cities here for 12 points. So a total of 27 points on the field for blue. Yellow, however, has 15 points for these 2 monasteries, is going to have 3 more once the monasteries are completed, and 2 meeples to get extra points. But it's a big if, because after this move, there's only 1 curve remaining in the deck, and it looks like we're headed for that 6% chance of Waiguru drawing all 4 curves after that critical moment. Maybe still yellow can recover that meeple. Or yellow has another scoring mechanism, and he has successfully proceeded with his plan of blocking the square, capping the blue guy at 4 points. He still wants to develop his ruin somewhat. He can actually get 2 Doritos and maybe even a big tile to go over here and try to create an even bigger ruin, taking advantage of these 2 squares over here. But Waiguru gets a scoring tile himself, and he meeples a 7-point monastery with his last meeple. A strong move, one that not everybody can pull the trigger on. But the idea with this move is that I just stopped talking because I was so confused by Sheldal's move with the splitter. To me, it seems like a rather sizable mistake, actually. Because the place where the splitter truly belongs, it seems to me, would be over here. Trying to take advantage of the fact that our opponent doesn't have any meeples, and we try to get more city caps to score points. So the only explanation I see for this move is that if Sheldal has calculated that there are no more city caps remaining, which is a possibility. And actually, now that I look at this position in more detail, there are no more city caps remaining. Yeah, what amazingly quick tile counting from Sheldal, who is now very close to finishing his monastery, but Waiguru has the means to finish his own monastery right now. This would come at the expense of a point, as he would go over here, prolonging Sheldal's ruin, but a meeple might be just worth it. Another possible move for blues to go over here at the top and try to block this square to prevent Sheldal from getting easy points for expanding his ruin. And actually, with the triple city tile or the quadruple city tile, 2 of which are remaining, Sheldal can still go over here and try and expand his ruin. In fact, that will be a 6-point move if Sheldal were to get the quadruple city tile, and a 3-point move a little bit further. So it seems that Waiguru should be following through with his threat there. Elias is saying a meeple is definitely better than 1 point. Hi, Besson. What does your instinct tell you here, Kerry? Do you go for the meeple from the Japanese perspective, sacrificing a point, or do you go for the block of Sheldal's ruin?
Wait. Well, I was just trying to figure out if there was a another piece that would get the meeple back, but none of the end caps and no Doritos with a road.
Starting tile, I think, is the one end cap that actually is still existent.
Okay.
And great move.
So that was probably wise. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So he did block, and he denies 6 points for this expansion. But you know what Sheldal can do? Sheldal can actually go here regardless. And he can take this side of the ruin with his last meeple for 7 points, which is about as well as he can do. And then he can hope to grab the starting tile from meeple recovery, or grab the last remaining curve from meeple recovery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I think
6,
that got
7.
played.
Oh, no.
The last curve, I think it got played.
Yeah, this one over here was the last curve. So this Monish meeple is trapped. Extremely unfortunately for Sheldal to have that meeple trap. There was actually not even 6. There was a 3% chance of this happening, because the road monastery was also drawn by Waiguru. So an extremely unfortunate series of draws for Sheldal. But this here meeple might still recover, and he might as well go for this. But I'm a bit surprised that he would take the 6-point ruin instead of the 7-point ruin. So that's just a clear 1-point mistake from Sheldal, really. I don't seem to think that there's a good reason for going there, unless he plans
can build on it.
He could, but then that would give him 1 extra point, which he could have already had for having this here ruin.
Yeah.
Now it's an interesting decision here for Waiguru. So he could go here at the bottom and try to unify his 1-point city together with the 6-point city of Sheldal. This, however, would give him... This would give the American a meeple back, which he might reinvest somewhere else, although I'm not sure where exactly. There is no more tile remaining that would fit into that square properly to take advantage of this ruin. Now a straight line for Sheldal really does not give him a lot of opportunities, but you know what? Maybe we need to think about this one for a long time, and with 9 minutes on the clock, he can do this. Now, the natural move for Sheldal after these here points would be to go here, score 3 points for a road, take a meeple back, so that would be a net 4-point move. If you look at the results here, assuming that the plugin calculates the score correctly, then he should be 12 points behind at the moment. So 4 points shouldn't really cut it. And I feel like a way how Sheldal could maybe swindle a win here is find himself a field invasion opportunity, because the fields have not been connected yet. There's a separate leftmost field for 18 points, and the rightmost field is now worth 15 points, because this shared city was worth a little bit. Yeah, and he goes for the farm, which I really, really like. There was, I think, only a 1 in 3 chance of this working, and Waiguru does get the last remaining. I'm not sure if this is the last remaining tile to connect, but at least it's a tile with which this field connection can easily be blocked, and sadly, Sheldal will be losing the first one here. Carrie, your reaction to this move was... Your first reaction to this move was not necessarily positive. Would you have...
going for the field?
Yeah, going for the field.
Your argument convinced me. Yeah, that he needed more than just what a few points could get.
Yeah.
A few points in a meeple.
And actually, now that I see the remaining tiles, the chances of success there were exactly 1 in 6. And even then, it's not real success, right? So the chances of the field invasion were 1 in 6.
Yeah.
So in order for the field invasion to happen, this specific of tile draws had to occur. Waiguru had to draw exactly this monastery, because this is the only tile with which he could not block. Then he'd just do this and score the same 5 points. Sheldal would then draw a straight line, which would give him exactly 3 points. Wait, would that work? Would that have worked? No, I don't think so, because... Okay, now now the point counter seems to be really broken here. I wanna turn it off for a second. And see what happens. Yeah, so 104 and 91 is in fact the final score. So 13-point difference, which means that even if Sheldal were connected to the field, and for the connection of the field, there's only was 1 in 6 chance with best play from both sides, he would then have still lost the field. And still lost the game. By 1 point, actually.
Yeah.
Because the connection was worth 12. But you know what? No. It's pretty interesting. It's actually very, very interesting. So you see that Guru got himself this monastery for 5 points. And this was indeed the move that can easily outrun the field connection. But it was very easy from the perspective of the Japanese to make a mistake. Because imagine this. Sheldal does this, and then you draw the monastery. The first instinct is to try and block, because from Blue's perspective, if Blue gets the monastery, then the remaining tiles are straight line and starting tile. Both are the tiles with which Sheldal is connected to the field. Whilst being short on time, it is quite possible for Blue to panic there and use the monastery as a mere blocking tile. But you know then what happens? Sheldal gets the field connection, and Guru just gets the 5-point road over here. So there was no way. There was really no way for the Japanese player to even make a mistake there. So, yeah, just an absolutely hopeless endgame, despite the fact that I felt like Sheldal did play well. I felt like it was a really high-level encounter. So
yes,
maybe he can respond something in the second. And now the yellow meeples for the American, the blue for the Japanese player. And this one does not look good for Sheldal, I was going to say, but now that he has drawn a second monastery, maybe this is not that bad. So players are playing at a rapid pace, already 17 tiles placed in just a couple of minutes. What are we having here? Some quick points for both sides. Sheldal finishing one of his many commenced cities. Guru has the better developed monasteries, especially after this move, which completely removes any vulnerability of the square, sets up a completion of the monastery, maybe even a 6-point road which goes around those monasteries, while Sheldal still would need to develop these monasteries that he has, and they don't have any shared squares. And he goes for efficiency with the capital E, tries to start yet a third city in such a way that would prolong his monastery as well. Now, I don't think he has the luxury of going over here. He has to do something about the threat that Guru is posing. With any city plus field tile, Blue can go over here and block this here meeple. So yellow probably is going to do this. This would be the standard move in this situation, trying to vastly limit the number of blocking tiles, or this, which is pretty interesting. To be honest, I actually didn't see that move, and I like it in the sense that it is completely eliminating blocking options, because now the square is fully protected. What I don't like is the fact that there's now an easy platform for Guru to reinvade the city from this side.
Yep.
On the other hand, this could still be Sheldal invading that city. In the meantime, Guru is finishing one of his many monasteries. He even picked up another one whilst we were talking. He also drew a crucial dagger tile, which now makes this here construction very, very vulnerable, with only one right-handed dagger remaining. Straight line for Sheldal, not many options, goes for the restriction, and now interesting move for Guru. He can either go here and try blocking the square, leaving only one tile that fits here, at the expense of making this here square next to his two monasteries a little bit more vulnerable. And he does it, even before I was planning to contemplate any other options. This allows Sheldal to create a very serious threat, taking 4 points for the city and now trying to block both monasteries of blue, and I think he will succeed because no, he gets a straight line.
No.
Nobody gets a defense tile. Nobody gets a blocking tile. White Guru just builds a giant sausage city at the bottom. Sheldal still can't catch up on a blocking tile, but at the very least, he gets to invade the city at the bottom with his last meeple. White Guru still doesn't get a defense tile. He just gets an indirect defense over there. Sheldal gets a splitter to at least liberate one of his meeples. And finally, an interesting decision for Waiguru. Shielded tile, absolutely juicy, absolutely lovely. And 3 main options that I see here, this was one of them. It's a bit chickeny, but it was one of them. The second was simply to go for this here city and start a new one. The third one was to ignore...
Oh.
You mean the volatile
This
connection
piece.
at the bottom?
Yeah. Yes. Really do it.
Yeah, so this is...
Last meeple.
I mean, I'd probably not do it as Waiguru, but... you see, like, if Waiguru were to have a starting tile or something like this, then it's kind of a no-brainer. We just go here and we try to reinvade this city. If Waiguru gets this one, like, he goes here... He's still not guaranteed to finish the city if he's invading, and he's leaving back a 6-point road, which is 1 point juicier than it already is. I don't know. I mean, would you do it, Carrie? Would you invade here, or would you do something more cautious as, like, going over here and make a blocking move? Or what the Japanese player made right now?
Ah. That road would have been a really good prize to leave open.
Well, but Sheldal gets it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, a bit of unfortunate draw for Waiguru, but you know what? I think he's playing like a bit overly cautious, maybe not creating enough threat, because look at what happens. He gets both of his monastery meeples blocked, whereas Sheldal's city meeple is technically sort of kind of alive, and if he gets the dagger, then at the very least he's going to liberate this monastery, and then he doesn't even have to care so much about finishing this city here. In the meantime, Sheldal's taking more quick points, munching, Waiguru with a Dorito tile with not so many options. Invading the city at the bottom is pretty much out of the question, because the further we are in the game, the more Doritos we draw, the fewer Doritos are remaining to complete the invasion. But then the question is, what do we do? So the same old question. Do we have enough courage or audacity to spend our last meeple and try and go for a 6-point city? Or do we still keep blocking, maybe going over here and try to restrict this here? Instead, he goes for another cautious move, which has some purpose, but it feels to me that Waiguru is playing as if he were ahead, which he isn't, but he is going to be now after this move, or not. I was thinking that he might want to go here to try and connect both roads. But the problem that would cause for him is that he would be helping Yellow's monastery. But the upside of this is that he would be expanding his field by a lot to bring in this castle and these couple of castles later a little bit. Both players just keep munching on quick points like there's no tomorrow. And Waiguru now with a Dorito with a road. But you gotta do something really aggressive, something annoying and aggressive. But what could that be? Any suggestions here, Carrie? I really struggle to see a productive move for blue. Would you have also added the same 2 points there?
I don't see what else. Given that
Some
he only has
annoying
one
blocking
meeple?
somewhere. I don't know.
Blocking what?
That's the question, yeah. I don't know. Maybe like you could place it like somewhere around the monastery,
Yeah.
maybe blocking this square. I'm not sure. Yeah, so he just decides to complete his city,
Yeah.
to continue his city. And honestly, I kind of like this idea from Waiguru's perspective because his position is not great. Elias is saying here in the chat that Waiguru did not complete the block, referring to this here tile, which could have been used to place over here. But Waiguru figured that he is a little bit behind, so 4 points are a little bit better. He's just going to gamble with the dagger. After all, there's only one tile remaining. But if Sheldal gets this tile and completes the monastery, or even completes this monastery, then Sheldal is going to be in really, really good condition here. So I like the idea of kind of adding points to the city and keeping the volatility there. And now with this tile, Waiguru can go for the consent move, which he goes for. Invasion of the city, looking to get one of the 3 remaining Dorito that fit over here and one of the 2 remaining horse tiles that fit over here. And what a sequence. He gets the Dorito now with just 1 horse tile, of which there's still 2 remaining. There's a 75% chance at the very least that he's going to manage. He's going to complete a monstrous city for 26 points, if I'm not mistaken, because there are just so many shields there.
That was a good block there. The field.
Oh, right, because it could have been a field invasion.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very neat. I mean, it's still possible to go here, but I'm not sure how many straight lines there are. And speaking of straits, Sheldal is in dire straits.
Straits.
Lame segue, but true nonetheless. He tries to fight back and fight for the city at the bottom, which is his best move by far. Waiguru, in the meantime, is getting more farms, really betting everything on the 75% chance, which is now closer to 80% chance, maybe like 77, 78, of completing this city. And again, this game is all about probabilities. Even though Sheldal has 2 extra meeples, which exceed the value of the extra points that Waiguru has, just that threat of the city completion is so huge that it's going to blow the American absolutely out of the water here. I can't even begin to describe how impactful this move was. Also with a shield, just to rub it in. 5 shields on a city, 28 points instead of 26 finally, and plus 3 points for this farmer and 3 points for this farmer just to rub it in. And of course, 2 meeples back to inflict further damage. So Sheldal, with a fantastic move, still trying to come back, now drops a farmer, hoping for the last remaining dagger, saying, hey, if you got the horse, at least I deserve the dagger. I deserve justice. And the tile draws. Waiguru has an option to respond. He can just ignore the threats and simply score quick points, because he seems to be far enough ahead that he could actually withstand the field attack, and the player his caliber can absolutely realize this. Or he could just go for emotional damage and go over here and meeple this 5-point road in anticipation of Sheldal drawing this dagger, just to not allow Sheldal meeple this road himself upon completion. So this would be the technical way of doing things, and he goes for it exactly. Very painful move to deal with. Sheldal with a city cap, which is not the tile that he wants at the moment. Ideally, what he wants to have is a road tile so that he can equalize the road, and then he wants the dagger so that he can get a meeple back, and then he wants something else entirely. Sheldal now takes a city over here, hoping for 1 more city cap over here to complete that city. Honestly, about as good a move as he can possibly make, and he gets his setup. That's a great sequence here by the American. 12 points in meeple back, just like this, but with the final dagger. I completely agree with your gasp, Carrie. Waiguru is going to shove that dagger in the hearts of American fans here. 4 extra points. And most importantly, no field invasion for you, little yellow guy. City invasion, hey, that's a bit of
now
something.
A field. Now he's
Oh,
got
right.
a
You mean the
9-point
9-point one on
field.
the left?
Yeah.
This is what I expect. Speaking of fields, by the way, I mean, you gotta give aesthetics points for Japan. Look at this guy. So 4 squares with 4 completed cities and 12 points, and all of them are Dorito shaped. Like, how beautiful is this?
Yep.
And then 9 extra points here, and then a bajillion points over here.
Yep.
Yeah, so Sheldon gets burned by the tile deck here a lot, and this has to be quite painful, but credit goes for the Japanese player really being behind and finding this extremely annoying but effective opportunity of a comeback through the invasion of back-to-back Doritos and this here tile with a 28-point city, just being very, very patient with the city invasions. And honestly, this also goes back to this here move by Sheldal, which made this opportunity to begin with. Because remember we said that there was this platform that could be used by Waiguru, and it was in fact used. 3 Doritos later over here, and this here Meeple snaked in to this 28 points. So these here small decisions can have a great impact in the rest of the game. So 1 duel, 1 for the Japanese. Let's see how they're doing on other tables. Presuming that everybody else is playing, whom of your teammates are you keen on watching next, Carrie?
Oh, let's see how they are in progress.
So there's still, everybody's still playing. Admitted has won his first one against Harrow. Justin, I was pronouncing Ether, but he's saying Ether, so I was pronouncing it wrong all the time.
Yeah, I think I've asked him how he pronounce it. That's his full name, Justin Ethier.
Yeah, that makes sense. Although I also like to pronounce it Etier, as if he's French, which I don't think he is.
I'm pretty sure I asked him how to pronounce it, but I also don't trust my memory.
No, I trust your memory for sure.
Correctly.
It's just like I've gotten so used to the wrong pronunciation that I'm gonna hate to adjust right now. But hey, we gotta do that. On table 4, quite the upset as J Paikat won the first game against none other than Ezitakuto Traps.
Wow.
In table 5, Japan is ahead against KB. So any preference here? Because I have a preference for sure, but you go first.
I'm curious to see how J Pie Cut goes. Just because, but I'm actually quite happy looking at any of these.
Oh, sure, but we think absolutely alike. I was really keen on checking out the new player, especially given the fact that he was capable of delivering an upset at least in one of the games, and maybe even in the second one, as with his 4 green meeples and 27 tiles left to play, he is 9 points ahead on the scoreboard against Ezitakuto Traps, who has him outrated. And also he has other good stuff for him going on the board. This 8-point monastery is soon going to get completed, a bit sooner than this 7-point monastery over here. Green is also the first on the biggest field so far in the game here for 9 points. Ezitakuto does have another field, but only for 6 points and fewer green squares for expansion. J Paikat making a very volatile move, starting a new city and leaving another city open in his field. Ezitakuto now not able to catch up. Ezitakuto does have some setups though. There's still 1 remaining starting tile in the deck that goes for this here square, which would give him a 6-point city back, a 6.5-point road, And then and of course, a meeple back and maybe a chance to get this monastery and so on and so on. But Jay Pica finishes his monastery, gets yet another meeple back, 9 more points on the scoreboard, and he's also looking to build up his ruin over here for at least 12 points.
He gets his city, other city.
Oh, the dagger. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
And he will score 6 points unless he somehow thinks that they would be bad to let this red farmer invade, but then 6 points are 6 points are 6 points. This is always the moves here. Also good time management for Jay Pica, not going super, super fast, but still having 8 minutes to deliver 22 moves. And Zitakura now with a straight line and getting the shorter end of the stick when it comes to tile draws, maybe compensating a little bit what we saw earlier on table 1. So the question is, if we try to dream a little bit for your opponent's carry, do we have anything better than starting this 3-point road with our penultimate meeples and still a couple of crossroads remaining, or do you prefer making this blocking move, which ended up not working, but was a solid effort?
I like the way it turned out.
Well, not from Red's perspective, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Ooh, but you know what? Maybe now it's time for Red to go crazy. Because my first idea was to go over here for 3 points. But with only 3 crossroads remaining, maybe it's not entirely crazy to go over here, drop a ninja farmer, try to get a curve to score a 6-point road, and then maybe something like a monastery to invade over here with not 1 but 2 meeples. Because when Ezitakuto is this far behind on the scoreboard, he needs to try something absolutely radical.
Yep.
But also 2 meeples only, that's the main problem.
Right. And too many ways to stop a ninja farmer, I believe.
Yeah.
The full crossroad, the crossroads, one of the T's is out.
Well, and my suggestion would have been immediately thwarted, as the crossroads was drawn by Jay Pica. So it was actually interesting that Ezitakuto went sort of the middle route. He just still used that road, but with the road meeple to score just for the road and postpone the field invasion for a little bit later, which I actually like, because for Ezitakuto, what he needs to do, he just needs to draw the starting tile early enough so that he could get the meeples back for fighting the field. There's also this field here at the bottom, this meeple here at the bottom rather, which is surprisingly still alive, with 1 dagger remaining in this square, and still 2 splitters remaining on this square. Yeah, so that's like 37%, so that's actually not that bad. Moreover, if we complete this city first, we even get to drop a 6-point farmer upon completion. JPI here gets himself 3 quick points and a nice blocking move from Ezitakuto. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, I take that. No, I don't take that back. It's a nice blocking move. So he figures that he cannot afford to spend his last people on this ruin just yet, but at the very least, he's going to make sure that nothing fits into that square, that JP cannot take advantage of these here tiles by expanding his ruin. JP, of course, can still get a Dorito or an extender or something like this and go over here to claim these points, but he's going to need to use a meeple for that. So straight line for JP, not many productive moves, but I see one of them. Yeah, he's trying to, I think he's now trying to get a little bit cutesy. Dropping that 0-point farmer could actually go quite south for him. But, you know, when you have 5 meeples with 15 tiles remaining, you want to be dropping them just like almost on your every move. City cap for JPI, any suggestions? Do we just start a new city somewhere, or do we go for the 6-point ruin at the top? Do we drop a farmer maybe to try and get a 2 versus 1 majority, or even 3 versus 1 majority? What does your heart tell you, Carrie, here?
Oh, but I'd rather have a curve. Or no, not to.
Yeah, because the thing with the curve, like, you would be finishing your opponent's road if you want to invade that farmer.
Yeah.
This farmer seems to me is just a way to annoy Ezitakuto in case Ezitakuto has a curve. Because now red can't really finish his road. Now red actually is going to need to wait for a crossroad specifically. But there is a way for red to come out on top in this situation. Here's the plan for red. On our next move, we get the starting tile. We score the 5 points for the road, 6 points in the city, we get a meeple back. On our next move, we get a curve. And we don't go over here, but we go 1 square higher. We go here, and we drop a farmer as well. So we block the square, and actually when on our next move we finally draw the crossroad, we score 4 points for the road, and we also get a second farmer over here in this area, which then allows us to proceed here or here to complete the invasions. But actually, J. Picat is holding the last vanilla tile in the hand. 4 of them are on the board. The 5th will be soon enough. So this here square is blocked, and this is an excellent move here from JP. Simply blocking the invasion of this farmer, making it so that all of these ideas become completely irrelevant. And just to rub it in, just as Ezitakuto got a glimmer of hope, getting one of the 2 splitters from this square, waiting to get the dagger to get himself the 12 points for the city, the dagger was drawn by none other than the newer American player. So now I guess as JP, I was gonna say you can take the road points, but yeah, 3 points here sound good enough. Ezitakuto now finally gets a crossroads, and so he gets to have his cake and eat it too, at least in that area. 4 points for the road, 3 points for another road. The blockage of the 0-point farmer of JP, which still could actually invade this little 6-point field. Not that it is going to make a great difference.
But there's another invasion point down at the bottom right. Or what is there for straight roads? There's the starter tile.
There's 1 straight road, I believe, as well. But J. Picat doesn't actually bother with doing that. He just takes 2 points and restricts the potential of the
it's
field.
It's only a 6-point field.
Exactly, it's only a 6-point field. There are plenty of other ways of getting 6 points. For example, we could get this 5-point road, and we could even turn this into a 6-point road if we get the starting tile. And that's why I think he was setting up this move, because he knows that only he can take this road, because if he gets the starting tile, he goes here. And of course, if Ezitakuto gets the starting tile, he has a use for it elsewhere. And of course, there are plenty of other ways of getting field points, or just 6 points over here. For example, this here ruin is worth 6 points, but I presume it's going to be claimed by red right now.
I'm guessing that admitted is done, because I just got a call from him.
So wait, so we're having admitted win 2-0, and we're also going to have J. Picat winning 2-0, which means that the United States are like 1 duel away from actually delivering the upset.
Woohoo!
And staying.
We're hoping for it, because let's see here, 2 years ago, which year was it? 3 years ago. 2 years ago
was 2023. That's all what I know.
Right. 3 years ago, we beat Japan. Oh, and actually admitted has a ritual for whenever he plays Japan that he makes sure he has a inspirational meal of sushi. He had to have his inspirational meal yesterday, but rather than today, but it seems to have worked.
At least it did in his duel. Yeah, so by the way, I don't see the scoreboard right now. Our viewers see the scoreboard right now. So we don't know. Maybe the fate of the match was decided. Alexey Pegushev with a slight imprecision, actually. So it's a nice move. He's trying to simply pre-complete his monastery for the event that he finally draws the starting tile. But if you're banking on the starting tile, a slightly more precise move was to drop a farmer here, I think, because then when you complete your city here, this 0-point field is going to turn into 3-point field, and you're going to get 2 meeples back from here regardless. You're going to be at 3 meeples and so on and so on. In any case, Alexey Pegushev now finally gets himself an 8-point ruin, 6-point monastery for J. Paikat. Meeples are being spent left and right. Divider for Ezita, and not a good place to use it. Well, maybe we can drop it in our field. That's something. That's a bit of something. Or just get 1 point. It works just as well and probably even a bit more precise. Curvy tile for JP. A pretty easy 5-point road is our option. I'm pretty sure he's going to find it.
Yep.
The wrong kind of dagger for Alexey Pegushev to get 2 extra points. So who is going to get the starting tile? Well, Alexey Pegushev is going to get the starting tile. So look how lucky he is. JP with a curve can... ooh! Let's see how his endgames are. Okay, actually no, that works just as well. Yeah, taking 1 point there works just as well. And... no, JP's going to have the starting tile. JP's going to have the starting tile to rub it in.
Ouch. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to suggest a different, like, fancy move with JP cut. Like, he could go here for 1 point for this road, and then drop a 3-point farmer, like, in or 0-point farmer in the anticipation of the completion of the city.
Yep.
Yeah, but no cities are getting completed. GG politely saying Alexey Pegushev really feels like tough draws in this game.
Yes.
But JP does cash on his setup, so really a lot of credit goes for the American. Like, the moves that we've seen, at least in this game, when he had the advantage, it was very clean conversion, no big fights, no unreasonable meeples, just very, very clean, very clinical, keep things small, spend your meeples in different parts of the board, and
Yep. Yeah. No, this is great. For the US team, that is.
well, yeah.
No, we're really hoping. We've been, pumping up the team spirit, reminding everybody that yes, we have beaten Japan before. In fact, I think we were the only team to beat them in, I think it was 22. It was the first match of the year, and we pulled it off.
And you've done it again. The match is over.
Wow. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's incredible, really. Not only because the United States won, despite being the slight underdog, only slight, really, on tables 2, 3, and 4. Also on tables 1 and 5, which I thought were critical for the United States' chances. The United States lost and won on the other tables. But moreover than that, all the duels finished 2-0, so it's a very nice symmetry there. Not something that happens very often, although, Kerry, you're the statistician. How often has this happened before in this tournament to any teams, that every duel would finish 2-0 in favor of somebody?
Oh. I can't remember. I haven't looked at that. We did notice that in cases where the team that lost a duel, if their 2 wins were 2-0, they ended up winning more games than the winning team.
Yes, that is possible. It's possible to
Yep.
win 7 games and lose 8. I've seen that
Right.
pattern before several
We had a lot of
times.
them this in week 4. We had 4 of them.
Gotcha. But I wonder if we had this because I don't remember seeing a 10-game match
Yeah.
this early.
We
In
can
any
look for
case,
it. We can look for it.
oh, we might take to spend a bit of time on this, so we can talk about curiosities and statistics. And there were
Yeah.
just a couple of questions that I was willing to ask you, and maybe somebody in the chat has questions for Carrie Ali, who, a reminder to all of you, it goes by the screen name Mingo. Before we do any of that, time to congratulate the United States. So all rise for the national anthem of United States. Congratulations again for Team United States for nothing short of an incredible feat, staying undefeated in Group E and now defeating the reigning world champion. So, Carrie, what's the secret? What's the secret sauce?
Sushi. Um, we really came into this year, well, we didn't even make it to the playoffs for the past 2 years. So we were motivated a little bit more this year. That that helps. I think it's a lot easier. It's a lot harder to hold a world title than it is to like rise to it, I think. And yeah, definitely motivated.
Well, yeah, definitely best of luck to your team going further on. We're going to have a look a bit at the tournament table and do some playoff speculations. Before that, let's just catch up with the chat a little quick. Yeah, hi, Al. That's congratulations for your duel. And also, one of the things, like when you win 3-2, then every of the 3 winning players could think that it was their duel that was decisive as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Elias pointing out in the chat that Japan has never been undefeated, and this is actually true. That in 2022 was Japan's year. Yes. So Japan lost to the United States in 2022, which was, I think, their only loss. Then Japan became the champion. In 2021, Japan lost to the United Kingdom, so they tend to lose to united countries, apparently. And Japan still won again, and then will the pattern repeat right now? We're gonna see. Although I don't remember who Japan lost against last year. I have a feeling it might have been Czechia, but I could be wrong. but Japan lost to somebody. Alrighty, so what's next for us? Yes, tournament table. Tournament table, which in Group E is really, really straightforward. Both Japan and the United States are going to qualify for the playoffs, but the United States has 4 wins out of 4, and they're one of the 2 undefeated teams in the tournament, together with Croatia, although Croatia does have a slightly better duel difference. I wonder why this might be. I wonder where they might have gotten this tiebreak from. So United States
had tough games. In the games that we won 3-2, they were, especially with the Netherlands, it was very, very close.
Yeah, oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, we've seen, the duel between Bexy and KB. So United States is undefeated with a tiebreaker of +7, whereas Croatia is undefeated with a tiebreaker of +10. So whilst the US are technically not in the first place at the moment, they're definitely going to have themselves an opponent from the lower tier, I guess, of the teams that have qualified. Who exactly that's going to be, we're going to find out a little bit later. Then, if we scroll up real quickly, we can actually see that there are no more other undefeated teams. The only other team that has the chance of staying undefeated is China. But their victory against Finland is absolutely not a given. I've seen the lineups, and it looks like really 50-50. China might be like a 55% favorite, but nah, it's really, really 50-50 for tomorrow. So the United States are going to stay at least in third for now, but in the playoff, it's not going to matter that much. Japan is going to be somewhere in the middle of the pack with only 1 loss and still a very, very good tiebreaker. So that should be still in the top 8, I believe, or maybe in the top 10. So they should also get themselves a manageable opponent in the first round of playoff. Yeah, so this is what I have to say. What's your playoff recipe, Kerry? Are you going to practice with the team? Are you going to spend much time researching your opponent? Or is it really just the sushi?
We have been practicing some. DKL and Jay Pycut did a practice duel on a couple nights ago, while several of the rest of us were watching and discussing it between ourselves. And then they came into the after they finished playing the game, they came in and we all discussed it together and did a replay of one of the games. And yes, we'll probably do some more of that. Many people on the team don't have much time to do much of the practicing together, that is. Not much problem finding individual practice time, fortunately. So watching the live streams is definitely a great way to prepare, because just watching games, watching your analysis, watching other people's comments on the analysis are great ways to test your own ideas, to see how other people play differently and whether it came out well or not.
Gotcha. Okay, so sounds already more like an actionable recipe, something that we can try and implement as well in our teams, although we do try and practice as well, but there are many, many ways of doing this as well. Yeah, so best of luck for your team going forwards. Really an absolutely amazing season so far. And with that, we will be wrapping up, really. Just double checking the chat real quick. Oh, also Elias pointing out that China, the other team to have become a world champion, lost to Poland in 2023 when China became champion. So there hasn't ever been a champion that has been undefeated in the group stage. Well, maybe Team United States could be a first.
That would be great.
Yeah, well, best of luck with that, unless you are playing against Latvia in the first round, which actually is a real possibility, I think.
Yeah.
Because our tiebreaker is pretty bad, so we should be ranked towards the bottom of the first 16. Yep. But let's see if that happens or not.
Yeah, but when it comes to the round of 16, even with a bad seed, you could face an incredible team.
Yeah.
If you have a great seed, you can still, even if you're playing against a low seed, that low seed could be very intimidating.
Oh, yeah, and this is one of the reasons why I actually prefer the previous tournament format, where they had a round of 12 instead of round of 16, where the top team from each group automatically qualifies for the quarterfinals. But I think I might be in the minority there. And with this format, by the way, the United States would have qualified already for the quarterfinals. Now they have an extra round to play, just like everybody else. Ready. Time to sleep.
Yep.
Thanks so much, Carrie, for joining today. I will try do my best to convince you to come in again some more times as well.
And just not quite so late next time.
Yeah, I mean, y'all were the one. I mean, for me, it's even later. Like, I wasn't the one who was scheduling the match, so.
Me neither. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll try to make that happen. For the rest of you, thank y'all for being here with us so late. If it's not too difficult for you, make sure to meeple the like button for the algorithm and subscribe for more competitive content like this in case if you're here for the first time. And if you happen to enjoy this very, very much, then also consider supporting this channel by using the recently implemented super thanks button, which should be somewhere and on the screen. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.